Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. This is the 1-year anniversary episode of A Shot at Business Central and a Beer, which is a podcast where we talk all things Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. I'm Michael Intravartolo, and I'm here again virtually with Ken Sebahar. What is going on, Ken? And happy 1-year podcast anniversary, my friend.
Happy anniversary to you, too. It's been a really fun year. Again, I wish we were together, able to clink our glasses together and celebrate today. But alas, we are not. But I'm still going to enjoy a nice cold beer and a little Business Central discussion today.
Nice. I went a different route today, switched it up from the beer because it's the 1-year anniversary, so I decided to go with my go-to drink, I guess, whenever I decide to have a drink, which is Jack Daniels and Coke. Jack Daniels is pretty popular. Everybody knows about it. They tell you 1 or 2 interesting facts about Jack Daniels. So Jack Daniel actually was only 5 feet 2 inches tall, had a pretty good mustache. It wasn't even his real name, Jack Daniels. His real name was Jasper Newton Daniel, but his friends used to call him Jack. And Jack Daniels is so popular that Frank Sinatra actually took a bottle of Jack Daniels with him to his grave. He was literally buried with a bottle of Jack Daniels. So it doesn't get much more popular than that.
That's going out in style.
Yeah.
What did you say his original name was?
His original name is, let's see, I got it right here. He is Jasper Newton Daniel.
So, yeah, I think Jack and Coke has a much better ring to it than a Jasper and Coke.
Yeah,
no offense to all the Jaspers out there, but
Yeah. And I'm not sure. I never knew that if your name was Jasper, they could call you Jack for short. That's interesting. So.
Yeah, I've always kind of found it odd that Jack is kind of like a nickname for someone named John.
Right. Yeah. John F. Kennedy.
It's no shorter.
Yeah. It makes no sense, but
I guess if you have multiple Johns in the family, I guess that's where that probably comes into play.
Right. So, yeah, I'm drinking Jack Daniels and Coke. What about you? What do you got?
I'm drinking an IPA today. So it's called Centennial Ipa by Founders Brewing, which is a Michigan beer. I think originally headquartered in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and also has a brewery in Detroit or the Detroit area. So I'm sticking with with my classic, my go-to. So one of my favorites, Founders IPA. Although, let me share a little story with you. My favorite actual beer is a Founder. One of my top, let's call it top 3, is Founders All Day IPA, which is an India Pale Ale. And the all day kind of signifies that it's lower alcohol content. So like a 4.5. And in my, going over to Binny's and picking out my beer with my mask on my face, and as all discombobulated, I accidentally grabbed the Centennial IPA, which is 7.2% alcohol. So significantly stronger, similar flavors, but it can definitely taste the additional alcohol in there.
So I think one of the questions our readers might want to know the answer to is the mask homemade or is it purchased?
My mask? No, it's just one of the disposable, everyday ones that I think my wife went out and got like a box of 25 of these like a while ago. They've just been sitting there. And now in our great home state of Illinois, starting today, May 1st, we're required to wear these when we go out, shopping or whatever.
I think for the rest of the month, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Not too bad. I'm in the same boat as you. I have not made a mask yet. I have a box of 50, just like you, the disposable ones. So we'll see how it goes. Um, so we've been doing the podcast for a year, and I've got a couple notes here on some of the things that have happened in the past year while we've been doing this podcast. So I'd like to share a little bit. First, Shot at Business Central and the podcast. On average, we saw a 37% increase in plays each month.
Wow.
This isn't for April calculated yet. It's just from May through March, but yeah, increased 37% every month on average. Our highest rated beer was the first beer we ever tried, which was the Zombie Dust by Three Floyds Brewing. It had an average rating from you and I of 96. So do you think that we rated it that high because it's the first one? I mean, I know that's one of your favorite beers. Do you think that would have dropped if it were fourth or fifth down the line?
No, it's still up at the top for me.
Yeah, it's a pretty good beer. Our worst rated beers were the Leinenkugel's Cherry Blonde lager, and it was terrible. And the Trader Joe's Providential Golden Ale. Both had a rating of 50 from us. So not too good.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a reappearance of those on a future podcast.
Probably not. So let's see what else happened in the last year since we've been podcasting. The first all-woman spacewalk was completed. On average, 97.2% of organizations in the year of 2019 started to invest in big data and AI. Microsoft became a $1 trillion company. Podcast listeners in the United States increased by 13 million. And Tom Brady became a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So the last year has just been crazy. Things happening that we never thought.
Yeah. Well, right. And now this COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
You left out that one little thing.
Yeah, just that little thing, yeah. But it's also seen a lot of changes in the past year for Microsoft Business Central. There's been a lot of updates, a lot of new news, and I know within the last couple of months there's been a lot of updates with release wave 1 2020. Let's see, Ken, you got anything you want to share first about the Business Central news for the chat section?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, we've got quite a bit of news, and it seems like I say that every time we get together.
Yeah,
but I think it's true, and I think it's great. There's just so much going on. I guess let's start with this. The Business Central 2020 Wave 1 was officially released in early April. And what we saw today is many of the Business Central cloud environments were updated last night. So we actually receive, we're on the notifications lists, and we can see when environments are being updated. And we saw a lot of our environments being updated last night. So kind of cutting it close on the quote April deployments. Right.
Running a little late.
Yeah. but you know what? Better done late and well than otherwise. And I was in there today in one of our environments checking some stuff out, and there is some, really cool stuff, both from a technology and support perspective, and also some cool features that users are going to really like also.
Yeah, I've been looking over the list and whatnot, and I completely agree with you. Some of the features are going to be amazing, and some of the features are even, you see them and you almost think that a lot of those were there already because you just don't realize it. But yeah, a lot of cool features. One of the things though that I know they're doing with Business Central is they're working on trying to make the 80 gigabyte database storage limit work for most of the companies that are on Business Central. And if not, they introduced a new SKU to where if your company has more than 80 gigabytes of data, you can purchase one gigabyte per month for $40 a month. But
Yeah.
some of the things that they're doing to help companies stay within that 80 gigabyte database range is pretty amazing. I know you like the SQL compression. What did you like?
Yeah. Well, I think like your point, you're saying, I think first of all, I think many people may not even realize that you know every Business Central tenant has a default database storage size of 80 gig. And many of the new customers certainly would never realize that because they're new, they're starting off, they don't have a lot of data or history in there at this point. So 80 gig is way more than plenty. But now we're seeing companies that are running maybe Business Central on premise or maybe Great Plains, and they're migrating to Business Central, and that is coming into play. So yes, the first thing that they're doing to make sure that 80 gig is maximized is they're using SQL compression to compress the databases, which I think will have a significant impact and allow it to truly be more than 80 gig of space in there. So yeah, that's the first thing they're doing.
That's also going to increase performance as well. I mean, all these will, I guess, as soon as you start bringing down the amount of load that's placed on the system, performance, usually always goes up. So.
Yeah, and what they've said is that they're going to actually start rolling this out up in the upcoming months here, prior to the Wave 2 2020 release. So, that would indicate from sometime between May and September, maybe. I don't think that's anything customers are going to see or realize is happening, but it will, quote, materially reduce database storage size.
Yeah, and if you're a large corporation, you might notice the performance increase, but more than likely, you're not going to see too much of it. One of the ones that I liked was let's see, I guess the automated log file management. So this is where Microsoft's going to configure and manage a maximum size for log tables, and they'll provide an automatic purging of older entries to also, to improve performance and reduce storage.
Yeah,
I really like how they're just going out there, and Microsoft's just going after it. So they know that a lot of people are using it, and the storage is getting up, so they want to increase the performance and reduce the storage, which is really good.
Yeah, that and the other one that's kind of related to that, I think, in a way that it's a proactive thing, is that there's alerting on rapid database growth. So as again, it's a proactive monitoring that Microsoft's doing on the size of the database, so that the performance can be monitored and maintained without a negative situation happening. Yeah,
it's really nice. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Ken.
And we left out probably the biggest.
The archiving
announcement. No, the file storage, the attachments. So I don't know, if you're a Business Central user, you know that on any record you have an attachments fact box. And the same way you attach files to an email, you can attach an unlimited number of files to any record. Like on a customer, you could attach an Excel price list, or on an item, you could attach a CAD PDF drawing file or something, right? And it actually, when you create these attachments, it's actually storing those attachments in the database. So, if you have some huge, drawings or other files that you're saving in the system, that would impact your database size. Well, they've announced that these will be excluded from the calculation of the database storage usage.
Wow. That's huge.
Yeah, and maybe they will create like a separate tier of lower priced file storage if needed. But that is huge, because that would be a problem, and they recognized it and are coming up with another solution around that. Because it would be a shame if people couldn't use that attachments feature because they were worried about storage size.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. So does that go along with? I got some notes here that say Microsoft plans to allow the archiving of historical data out of the primary database while still maintaining access to required information. So does that mean in the future these archives of your historical data won't actually be included in the database, but you'll be able to access it?
Yeah, that's what it look. Yeah, exactly. That's what that looks like. So maybe some historical files can be kind of quote offloaded into maybe a separate database behind the scenes where users will still have access to that data, but it will not be directly maintained inside of that production SQL database.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then also, Microsoft has, I know you've gotten into the database and played around with some of the new features and whatnot. And a couple of my favorites of the new features that actually rolled out are, I love the disable export of data to Excel. I think that's huge. I don't think everybody should be allowed to export the company's data into an Excel file without permission.
Right.
I think that's big. I also like the device orientation enhancements that have come out. So if you're on your phone or whatnot, it's kind of like a seamless program, no matter how you're using it through whichever device you're using it. But if you orientate the phone, you'll still be able to see the field boxes and all the information. So I like that. I think you've got a couple that you liked as well, Ken.
Yeah. So from the client perspective, you can import profiles and user interface customizations from one environment to another. So what that basically means is that you could be in a sandbox environment, build a new profile, configure it to show different fields, right, and buttons on the page, and then test it there, and then you could import that into your production environment.
Really nice.
So something from a tailoring and customization standpoint is a nice feature that they've added.
Very nice, very nice. So let's see what else. I like that they've optimized the page space.
Yeah, they said that it's like they're maximizing. They're taking just by some minor improvements, you get taking advantage of 15% more space horizontally and 5% more vertically. So just laying out the pages a little more nicely.
Yeah, definitely really good. What about from a service standpoint? Is there anything you really like that they came out with?
Absolutely. So a couple things. So when we talk about maintenance and monitoring of the service, or right, the engine, there's a few things that they've added. One is the ability to see current database locks. So every once in a while this can happen in a database, so they've created tools to identify if there's any locking going on so that those can be resolved. So that's the first one. The second one, which is pretty cool, is the ability to see the different sizes of all of the tables in the database. So you can kind of see, where is the bulk of your data sitting. You can also cancel sessions. You can view sessions and then cancel them. So if you happen to see a session there that maybe you want to cancel for whatever reason, you have that capability to do it. And also monitor web service requests and report performance. So if you can see how long processes are running, and you can actually set limits on some of those as well. So you can say, I don't want this report or web service calls if I'm integrating Business Central with some other application. I don't want them hogging all the resources. Yeah. Or maybe I'll let them hog the resources for a certain amount of time, and then we're going to cancel that automatically if it isn't completed, right? So these are things all intended to as tools to help users and partners make sure that the Business Central and Microsoft team make sure that the Business Central is performing well.
Now, do you know if these are applied to both on-premise and cloud?
Most I don't. I'm sure some of them are both. Um, some of them may be limited just by the nature of the fact that it's multi-tenant and it's Microsoft. Things that Microsoft is providing
Yeah.
to do some of these. But some of them certainly are probably like seeing table sizes and canceling sessions. Probably is also on premise. Yeah.
Right. Nice. So Microsoft is continuing to offer, the tools and stuff to help customers and even partners maintain databases in Business Central and help everybody grow together. But speaking of Microsoft tools, before we go any further, I'd just like to point out some of the resources that Microsoft and Solution Systems has made available to help you during these trying times. So first off, right now, Microsoft 365 Business Basic is free for 6 months. What is Microsoft 365
Wow.
Business Basic? Yeah, 6 months. You can't go wrong with that, right? So Microsoft 365 Business Basic. It's basically the ultimate remote collaboration tool. It's going to include your Office apps like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It's going to give you the email and calendar capabilities with Outlook. And then it's also going to give you Teams, which is going to give you the chat, online meetings, and calling. So let's say though that you already have the Office apps, you purchased them, you've got them on your computer, but you want the capabilities of Microsoft Teams with the video chat and the text chat. Good news is Microsoft Teams is also free for 6 months right now. And Solution Systems, to help do our part and sort of pay it forward, what we're doing is we are offering free setup for anybody who wants to set up Microsoft Azure Cloud Backup. This way, you don't have to go into the office and do manual backups. You can stay quarantined or whatnot. So if you take advantage of the free setup with the Azure Backup, the Microsoft Teams, and the Microsoft 365 Business Basic, it looks like you'll be pretty ready to go to continue to work from home for as long as you need to be. All good tools.
It's all good. Hopefully that's sooner rather than longer.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think June 1st is going to be my limit before I kind of go crazy.
I think it's we're laughing, but I'm sure there's people that are past that point of laughing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a couple things here too that I wanted to mention about on premise too. They made this announcement recently, maybe in early April, is that they're going to continue to make version 14 of on-premise Business Central available for new customers. So if you're purchasing Business Central on-premise today, right, by default you would purchase version 16, which is this newest release that just came out. Yeah. But you will also be able to obtain license keys for version 14, which came out 1 year ago. And the reason that's important is because version 14 has also the old Dynamics NAV development environment and Windows client available. So there may possibly be scenarios out there where customers need to purchase that or run that so they can still get those license keys.
Right. Plus, it's a little bit of an easier transition because they're so used to and familiar with Nav that if they can still use the Windows client, it mimics the look of Nav, correct?
Right. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Make it a little bit easier for everybody then.
Yeah, and the last piece, I don't know if we want to talk about a little bit about the transition tools to Business Central.
Oh, I've heard there's some new GP ones out there.
Yes, sir. So I would tell you this is one of the biggest areas of investment for Microsoft is really making sure that customers that are running GP can successfully migrate to Business Central. And part of the new tools that are coming out is the ability to upgrade from multiple versions of GP to Business Central. So if you're running GP 2015, 2016, or 2018, you can migrate through GP 2018 R2 into Business Central. So that's good news for customers who may not be on the newest release of GP, but they're looking to move to Business Central.
So what? That's the easiest way to say this, I guess. What do you think the future of GP is? You think it's going to be around for a long time, or what? I know I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah, I think, well, yeah, certainly I think Microsoft is going to make sure that GP continues to run, and there will be continued releases of it. There's a huge number of customers out there, and I think they're going to make sure that if those customers choose to stay on GP, that they're going to have software that's compatible with new versions of Windows and SQL Server, right, and tools. But there are also, and I'm just making this judgment based on what I'm seeing, is just with tools like this, it certainly feels like Microsoft is suggesting to customers that there's a lot to be gained by moving to Business Central.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Just like you said, just from the tools that they're offering and how easy they're making it to migrate to Business Central. I mean, I know there's a plan in place for GP going forward or whatnot, but it kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah, and I think too, and I not only are they making it where there are more versions that you can migrate from GP to Business Central, but there are significant improvements in those data migration tools themselves. So some examples of that is that they are migrating GP GL account segments into dimensions within Business Central, and fitting that data in all of the history into the Business Central dimension structure, so that all of that flows over much more smoothly. They're also adding, on the customer side, they're adding customer ship-to addresses. If you have ship-to addresses in GP, those are going to come over, or vendor, what we call order addresses, right, or order from addresses. On the inventory side, if you're using inventory in GP, now there's better migration of how the locations, warehouses or locations are brought over, cost layers, and also serial number and lot number tracking. All of that is now brought over into Business Central from GP.
Wow.
And all I can tell you is, without disclosing too much, is that over the next 2 releases or the next year, they're continuing to add even more migration from GP into Business Central. So there's significant improvements, even continued planning into the future.
So they're really not saying, "Hey, we're gonna cancel GP." They're just making the deal so sweet that you can't pass up switching to Business Central.
I think that's a good way to put it. At a certain point in time, customers may make a decision and looking at it and saying, wow, there is some really compelling functionality here, and opportunities that we're missing out on that we could take advantage of if we were to migrate to Business Central.
Pretty nice. Pretty cool. So, with that being said, I think it's time to jump into our featured app segment, unless you got anything left for the shot of Business Central.
I think that's enough news for today, huh?
I'm sure there'll be a lot more next month too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. So, because of all the digital transactions going on with how we obtain products lately, for this month's featured app segment, we're going to be taking a look at 2 of the more popular e-commerce apps around for Business Central, those being Sonic Commerce and eShop for Dynamics. Why e-commerce this month, you ask? Well, basically, like I said, just because of all the digital transactions going on. I mean, it's changing the way that we're obtaining our products lately because of the COVID-19. And, it just seemed right to look at some of the, e-commerce apps. Especially once I read that the overall e-commerce sales are up 25% due to COVID-19. And certain industries, such as exercise equipment, are seeing an increase in e-commerce sales up to 55%. This is according to Adobe's Digital Economy Index. It's not from my own research.
Yeah, and you know what I'm seeing. You know what I'm seeing as personally as a big trend is that I think they're over the past whatever it's however many years it's been, people have gotten more and more used to purchasing things over the internet through an e-commerce store. But even in the last these last 30 to 90 days, it seems like a ton more products that you never thought people would buy over the internet,
Yes.
they're doing it. So it's like it used to be maybe certain products weren't a really good sell opportunity through an e-commerce site. I think that paradigm is kind of shifting, and people are much more comfortable buying things they never thought they might without putting their hands on them and touching them or trying them on.
Yeah, I'm in the boat where when all this COVID-19 stuff starts to subside, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to being a traditional shopper. I don't know if I'll ever go back to a grocery store if I don't have to. It's definitely changing the way business is done.
Right. So I think it's a very appropriate topic for you to be discussing today.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first app, which is Sana Commerce. Uh, Sana Commerce was founded in 2008 as a subsidiary of ISM E-Company, which was founded by two people by the names of Jan Kees de Jager and Carl van der Wood in 1992. So this means that the commerce portion is roughly been around for 12 years. What is the claim to fame, so to speak, of Sana Business Central e-commerce app? And there's really four things that Sana likes to boast about. And the first is it makes it easy for customers to find, order, reorder, pay for, and return products online at their convenience. In my opinion, the key word here being convenience, because that's really what e-commerce is all about. A lot of us just want to stay home and not waste the time going out shopping for things that we don't have to have or whatever it is. Same with businesses. The second is simplified web store setup and ongoing maintenance by using Business Central to power your web store. And this is actually designed to be implemented in just weeks without requiring heavy customizations. So Sana says. So, okay, a full e-commerce platform up and running within weeks. It sounds like something that every Business Central user can get behind. You think it's possible, Ken?
I think it's possible for sure. Yeah, I've got some thoughts here. We'll get through the two, and then I'll share some of my thoughts.
All right.
On it.
Next up, we got is about providing a better buying that's consistent across all devices, online, offline. Now, I don't know the numbers, but having consistency across all devices is a must in today's digital world. And if I had to guess, I would say that more than half of online purchases are done now through cell phones, but that's just a guesstimate. And the last thing Sana likes to boast about is providing the tools that allow you to improve sales results by reaching a larger global market, opening a new sales channel, and creating sales touch points with e-commerce. So these were the selling points of Sana Commerce, but what really sets Sana apart from others? Well, Sana claims that it was the first officially recognized e-commerce app in the App Stores, which is good. It has a very simple and sleek layout. It connects directly into and is partially built on top of your Business Central environment. It has front and back office systems integration. It also has a time-saving automation functionality, which is thanks to the real-time synchronization of your ERP data. An example of this would be like if once an order is placed online, the sales order is automatically written to your Business Central database in real time. It has a unified view of your customers and simplified inventory management across all channels. And it has expedited order fulfillment. And in turn, that means more satisfied customers. So a lot of good features from Sana, a lot of good things that they claim they're the best at. But one of their competitors is eShop for Dynamics. Let's take a quick look at Dynamics eShop. Dynamics eShop has over 20 years of experience in developing and implementing fully integrated commerce solutions. These solutions have a focus on leveraging technology to simplify and automate business processes and provide a robust digital platform that makes selling easy by uniting the right products with their customers. So that's roughly 8 more years of experience with commerce solutions in Sonahead. I'm not sure how much weight that holds in today's world, but it's good to take a mental note of it. What are eShop for Dynamics claims to fame? Well, they've got 5 things that they like to boast about as opposed to 4 that's Sonahead. The first one is displaying customer-specific pricing, payment terms, and discounts by leveraging existing business logic from Dynamics 365 Business Central. So, just like with Sonic Commerce, though, eShop for Dynamics is integrating with your Business Central environment to help improve the overall customer experience. The second thing is the ability to display real-time inventory on the website. In my opinion, real-time functionality is a must for any e-commerce platform. Imagine if you bought something only to find out later that the company was actually out of stock for the product that you needed and you weren't going to get it within a day or two. It's going to take you 3 weeks. That would be something that would drive me absolutely crazy.
Right. You want to know it's ready to order and available right now.
Yeah, especially in today's world, right? We live in an age of I want it now.
Yeah.
The third thing that Dynamics eShop boasts about is the ability to create orders instantly into Dynamics 365 Business Central. This is another must for any e-commerce platform, and Sana also has this.
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of on par so far. The fourth is displaying orders, invoices, credit memo, and payment history online and allowing payments on existing invoices. I really like this because it's creating a better customer experience. And as everybody knows, a better customer experience means a happy customer, which means a returning customer.
Right.
And the last claim to fame for eShop for Dynamics is the ability to create and maintain data in Dynamics 365 Business Central and then share that data across multiple platforms. So to some, this is a big deal. To others, maybe not. To me, it's one of those things where it's not a big deal until it is a big deal. So better to be prepared than not prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. So, frankly, what I heard there was I heard a lot of similarities.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And we've worked with both products, and both products can work for companies.
Yep.
Right. So I think there's some personal preference between the two products. There may be pricing differences between the two products. But I think overall, my takeaway on this whole thing is both of these products utilize Business Central, right, data in their websites. And there's an integration between the website itself, the e-commerce store that the user is experiencing, and Business Central.
Right.
And that is the magic. The fact that it's already integrated, there's already an integration there, that data is transferred back and forth as required. And I would just tell you that the tighter the integration is, the more the e-commerce site relies on Business Central, the better. Because what it means is that you're not having to manually or develop custom integration tools. You're not having to worry about synchronization processes running to pass data back and forth. And you're not having to custom or develop logic on the website so that it reflects the same logic that you're seeing inside Business Central.
Right. So. And that's probably what makes these two applications stand out from the rest. I mean, they've really put the development time in to have the information, transfer back and forth in real time. So,
right.
But like you were saying, there are some differences, and especially within the pricing range of it. Now, Dynamics eShop is more of an a la carte, if you will, type of service where you can buy it. So they have more options. So if you do less than 300 orders a month, it's $4.99 per month. If you do less than 600 orders a month, it's $7.99 per month. And if you want unlimited orders, it's $9.99 per month. These are the basic ones. There's a bunch of different options available. There's a sales portal, vendor portal. You can do packages, marketing site, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we'll put in the show notes. But that's the gist of it for the basics. Now for Sana, for a limited number of ERP users, the price sheet did not say the amount of users. It's $1,800 per month and a one-time setup cost of $20,000. Dynamics eShop also has a setup cost. For their 3 tiers, you got $7,500, $12,500, and $15,000. So for Sana's basic tier, it's a $20,000 setup cost, which is pretty steep. Now, if you want unlimited number of ERP users, you're going to pay $2,750 per month with the one-time setup cost of $20,000.
Yep.
So both good products, but the discrepancy is really within the price and how you purchase the product.
Yeah. So with that, I just heard a few people fall off their chairs when he said those prices, because they're paying $70 per user per month for Business Central.
Uh-huh.
However, I would not think of it that way. I think how you have to think about this, like this e-commerce site is like a salesperson who's working for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Yep.
And if you can get the X number of orders from your website in a year, how does that compare to hiring 1 or 5 salespeople to try to replicate that, right? So I think if you look at your return on investment in terms of that, what amount of revenue you can bring in through a well-constructed and integrated website, I think that there's a big difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Amazon has no issues with spending the money on their site.
Right.
I mean, like you said, it's 500,000 salespeople to them, basically. It's
right.
Amazing. So yeah, definitely the way that you want to look at it. But like I said, both products are really good. We'll put a bunch more notes in the show notes, and reach out to us if you have any e-commerce questions. And with that, we're going to talk about featured segment that is coming up, which is, Ken, you want to dive in? You know what it is?
Sure. Yep. So in this segment here, we're going to talk about our feature spotlight. And our feature spotlight for today, the topic is adjust cost item entries. What is it and why you need it? So there is, any company that has inventory and is using Business Central, whether they know it or not, they use and they rely on a process inside of Business Central called adjust cost item entries. So what is this? Well, what it is, it's a process that runs through your inventory, all your item ledgers, and it makes sure that your inventory costs and values are properly updated and are accurate. So there are ways that you can set this process to run automatically so that you never have to manually run it, or you may set up Business Central so that it's something that has to be run on a nightly basis or maybe a weekly basis. And again, what it's doing is it's making sure that the value of your inventory and your cost of goods sold and are accurate, and all your cost layers have been updated appropriately. So, make sense, Michael?
It does. It does make sense.
Okay, so that's what it is. And by the way, we have prepared a document that that talks through all of this, and we'll make it available on our show notes. We've previously posted this on our blog site. So so we know what it is, but why do I need it? Well, let's walk through an example that explain this will clearly show you why this is something that has to run in order to make sure that your inventory is accurate. Okay, so let's say that we're a distribution company, and we're buying some items that we're going to put into our warehouse, and then we're hoping to get some customer orders for these items, right? And so the first time we're going to, we do FIFO costing here. So whether it could be average, it could be LIFO, it could be FIFO, right? Or even lot specific or serial specific. But in this case, we'll talk about a FIFO example here to follow our document. And so what happens is we create a purchase order from a vendor, and we order some of these items. Let's call them widgets for today. Or should we call them cases of beer?
Let's do cases of beer.
Cases of beer. So we're going to buy some cases of craft beer, and we're going to place an order with a vendor, and we're going to pay $20 per case. So this is some good stuff.
All right.
Okay. And then so we put all this beer in our warehouse, and it's sitting there. We've got 100 cases sitting there at $20 a case, right? And then we create another purchase order. We're going to order some more because we anticipate it's getting to be summer. We're going to really start selling this like hotcakes. So we're going to order some more. But the price now has gone up to $30 a case.
Oof.
Right, I know. It breaks my heart when the price of beer goes up. So now we're going to buy another 100 cases at $30 a case. So what happens now is if you were to go look at your item record, there's a field called unit cost. And the unit cost on that item card would now say $25, right? Because I pay about 100 at $20 and I bought 100 at $30. So, right, that makes sense. So all it knows, I got 200 cases now at an average unit cost of $25 per case. Now I get my first sales order for some of this beer. And a customer orders 1 case of beer. So I create my sales order, and there's a field on my sales order called unit cost. Well, at this point, all Business Central knows is that my current cost on average is $25, because I don't know exactly when I'm going to ship this to them. I don't know which items I'm going to, are we going to sell them some of the $20 ones or some of the $30 ones? Right. I really don't know, because I haven't segregated them. I've just put them on a pallet in the warehouse. So they're all sitting there. So the best guess it has is $25. So that's my original cost on my sales order. Okay. Well, next what happens is we ship and we invoice the customer for that case of beer. Now at this point, the system is going to post an entry into my general ledger reflecting a cost of goods sold of $25, because that was the best guess of the cost at the time I posted that invoice. Mm-hmm. But now the adjust cost process runs. That's this process we're talking about. And it looks at my cost layers and it says, wait a minute, you actually just sold them, because you're FIFO, you first in, first out, you sold them a case at $20. So we're going to actually build an adjusting entry to show, so that our cost, to reflect the fact that our cost of goods sold is only $20 and that we only depleted inventory by $20.
Nice.
Right? And so and then if you were to go look at the posted sales invoice, now you will see in the statistics page, for example, that the adjusted cost on that sales invoice was $20, not the original $25.
Nice.
So if that makes sense, you see how in an everyday scenario, this adjust cost process is required in order to ensure that your inventory values and your cost of goods sold are tracked accurately inside the system. And if I could go ahead.
I was to say, think of the time saved alone with having to, you have to go back and change it. God.
Right. And this has been, and then, so this, I think most people kind of go, okay, that's great, Ken. I would kind of assume most systems would do that, right? You're saying it's FIFO costing, and I say, yeah, it's great. But let me tell you what is a differentiator between Business Central and other systems. Okay. So let's take this scenario one step further. Let's say that in this scenario, I had only received those 2 purchase orders with the 100 cases of inventory each, right? And I thought I was going to pay $20, and I thought I was going to pay $30. And I've already shipped that 1 case, right?
Right.
And it adjusted my cost to $20. But guess what? Now it's a week later, and now it's May. It's not even April anymore. I've closed April. But I receive an invoice from the brewery who sold me those 100 cases of beer. Mm-hmm. And they didn't charge me $20, but they charged me $18. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call them up and tell them that they undercharged me, right? No.
Maybe.
No, I don't think that's what happens. I think what happens is the payables person who does a get receipt lines to invoice that order, they change the cost that comes in from $20 down to $18, and then they post that payable invoice so that they can pay the brewery $18 a case, right, for those 100 cases.
Yep.
That all makes sense. But now the adjust cost process runs again. And what it does is it says, okay, you have 99 cases of that left in inventory. Let's go adjust your inventory value down again from $20 down to $18 a case. And you go, okay, that's great. But it does one last thing, and this is the huge differentiator, is that it then goes and it looks to see if you've already sold some of those. And it finds that you did. You sold 1 case to a customer, and it recorded an adjusted cost of $20. It finds that sale, and it adjusts the cost on that invoice and that sale down from $20 now down to $18.
Wow. Pretty nice. Very nice.
Right. So at the end of the month, right, we're going to do our best job to reflect our cost of goods sold based on those expected costs from the PO. But ultimately, at the end of the day, even if you get those invoices after you've shipped and invoiced those items to customers, and even if it's after the end of the month, the system will still go adjust your inventory and your cost of goods sold. And what that means is that whenever you run your inventory profitability or customer profitability reports in Business Central, those numbers that you're looking at are 100% accurate, regardless of the timing of those transactions that have occurred.
Wow. That's nice. That's real nice. It's a huge differentiator too.
Yep. So I hope that helps explain for people what this adjust cost process is, what it is, and more importantly, why I believe every customer needs it.
Yeah, and like Ken said, we'll put the notes within the podcast show notes, and I'll even put a link to the blog post that we have for adjust cost as well.
All right.
And with that, before we start to wrap things up, I think that, Ken, you need to give us a rating on the beer because we had a listener who, I guess will go unnamed, let us know that we forgot to rate a beer during one of our podcasts.
Uh-oh.
So you got to give us a rating on that beer, Ken.
On my Founders Centennial IPA, right?
Yep, the 7.2% alcohol.
Yeah, I'm going to go 93.
93, nice.
Yeah. It's a little, it's below the Zombie Dust, and it's also below the Founders All Day IPA. But it's still a great beer. Happy to drink it any day of the week.
All right. So with that, we've covered the shot at Business Central.
Hey, wait, whoa.
What? Am I forgetting something?
Yeah, you forgot to rate your Jack and Coke.
I kind of feel bad rating the Jack and Coke because last month I rated the Corona pretty high. So if you look at the list of beers, Corona's up there pretty high, and I don't know if their ratings what everybody would give it. So for Jack and Coke, for me, I'm going to give this a rating of 98.
Ah, wow.
Yeah.
I think that says a lot
About me or about the drink?
about you loving that drink.
Yeah, definitely. Probably my favorite drink. Right now, it's pretty hard to think of anything else. But, I can't give it 100 because there's always got to be something out there that might be better.
Absolutely.
All right. Now that we've rated the drinks, we want to thank everybody for listening. You can find the show notes and links on our website at www.solstice.com. Please subscribe to the podcast, share it, or tell a friend about it. You can find us on all major podcast platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and others. And with that, thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing this again virtually, Ken.
Yep, it's a lot of fun, and I look forward to digging into this new version of Business Central here and having some more good updates next month.
Awesome. All right. See you guys next month. Everybody stay safe and healthy.
Bye-bye.